This video is for young women who are thinking of having a big-time career. I have very few women in my audience. The fact of the matter is, something like 97% of my audience is male and 3% female, and most of the women I think are older, okay? So I am going to do this video. I don't think that many women, young women, will actually see this video, which is a shame because you see, a guy like me, described by my enemies as a misogynist pig, an evil, a minion of the patriarchy. Yeah, well, a guy like me, I might be on the opposite side of the political spectrum as you, but I know a lot of things, not because I'm smarter than you, but because I've been around longer. I've seen more. And I'm here to tell you that if you're pursuing a career, a big-time career in whatever field, it is a mistake that you're making. Do you know why more women graduate from law school, but there are fewer partners in big-time law firms that are women? Huh? You would think that since there are actually, at this time, more women graduating from law school, I do believe that the percentage is something like 53 to 47, something like that. I mean, it's not 50-50. Women have an edge there. But at the top of the pyramid of the legal profession, there are far more men than women. Do you know why? Well, it's very simple. It's not sexism, okay? That's a lie that's been told to you. A lot of people, feminists and whatnot, are telling you that it's sexism, that sexism is keeping women from the top of the pyramid in the legal profession, and also the medical profession, and all the professions, right? That's what they are telling you. This is a lie. It's a lie, and it's a very simple lie to show that it's a lie. Because, you see, all you have to do is look at the statistics of the different professions. What you will find is that, see, women and men, they're at the bottom of the pyramid of whatever profession is going on, right? And they rise, right? But then all of a sudden, women, because of their biological imperative of having children, and it is a biological imperative, and there's really nothing that a woman can do about it. It's hardwired into her brain and into her heart, right? A woman, all of a sudden, she crosses the age of 30, 32, and she starts getting very, very nervous that she doesn't have a kid. She wants a kid. Her body, everything in her being wants a kid. And I'm sure you've seen such women. Okay, such women who have successful careers. They're doing very well, better than their peers, their male peers. And all of a sudden, they hit age 30, 32, 35, and they get baby rabies in a big way. And no rational discussion is going to change them from their path. They want a kid. And a lot of these women, they're 35, 37, 40. All of a sudden, it's much harder for them to get naturally pregnant. And they start going into heroic measures, in vitro fertilization and whatnot, spending tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars on fertility treatments in order to have a child. And it becomes the center of their existence. Don't believe me, go out and Google it. This is easy to find. There are tons of testimonials of professional women, successful professional women, who all of a sudden, they want a kid no matter what. They want at least a kid. And a lot of these women wind up regretting the fact that they waited so long to have children. And what happens to these women once they have a child? They check out of their profession. That's what happens. See, because what happens is that the woman has a child, and this, by the way, happens especially with doctors, and it's an actual issue in the medical profession. A woman at, say, 32 has her first child, and all of a sudden she has this child that she has to care for, and she derives so much more satisfaction from having the child than her career. That's the truth of the matter. Because a career cannot smile at you. A career cannot, make funny faces at you. Yeah, and giggle when you make funny faces at him or her. A career is just, a selfish pursuit, whereas having a child is a selfless pursuit, a selfless endeavor. And it's something that most women, the vast majority of women, find enormous satisfaction. And that's why once they have a kid, a lot of these women with big-time careers quit their career. They don't want to have the career. They want to have kids or spend time with their kid or care for the kid. And of course the kid is annoying, and pukes and, keeps them up at night and crap like that. Yeah, I mean, like, I know that because I have kids. And I'm telling you, yeah, kids are of course annoying, but the amount of satisfaction, really when a woman steps back and just really, weighs the two, the child is so much more satisfying to her. The idea of pursuing a career becomes pointless. She might continue the career like on a part-time basis and sort of like not really paying much attention to it because she doesn't care anymore. And it's not the patriarchy, it's not men, it's not sexism, it's none of this stuff. It's women. Women realize once they have a child that the child is so much more important than anything else in their lives. It becomes the center of their universe. And that's why they drop out. That's why you don't have women dominating the top echelons of law firms or of medicine or of all the professions, of any of the professions. Because most of the really good women, as they were climbing up the ladder, they interrupted that climb to have a child, and once they had that child, they were like, the career. I want to spend time with my baby because the baby matters more. But see, feminism is not going to tell you this, and you have to understand why. Feminism is not a movement to empower women. It markets itself as such, but it's not. What feminism is really about is to, and this might sound crazy, but hear me out. Feminism is all about helping corporations get cheap labor. That's what it's about. You see, when you look at every corporation, they want more women in that profession, in that job or whatever. Because if there are only men competing for a position, then there are a finite number of candidates for the position, right? But if you double the number of candidates for the position because you bring in women, right? What happens to the salary? It goes down. Feminism has always been a corporate project. You don't believe me? Look at Ms. Magazine. Ms. Magazine is the #1 magazine of the feminist establishment. All the big feminists, wrote or have written or will write in Ms. Magazine. It was founded by Gloria Steinem, the patron saint of feminism, right? But Ms. Magazine cannot fund itself with subscriptions or even ad revenue. It depends on corporate donations. Yeah, look it up. You don't have to believe me. Now, the National Organization for Women, also corporate sponsorship. And that's why feminism, as an establishment, as an ideology, pushes women not to choose as they see fit. No. Because if a woman chooses to be a housewife, chooses to be a mother early, young, what does feminism say? It says that you're throwing your life away, that you're throwing away opportunities. But what about choice? You, a young woman, you want to have choice, right? But feminism says, no. The choice is not being a homemaker or a wife and a mother or a career person or a lawyer or a doctor. No. These choices, motherhood, being a housewife, are off the table. They don't exist. They're evil. They're the patriarchy. They're misogynistic, blah, 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 blah. No, the only choices are these professions, these corporate professions. That's what feminism is all about. Feminism is the handmaiden of the corporations. That's what it is. You don't believe me? Fine, but be smart. I mean, you're smart, you're watching me, and so you figure that, I'll give the old misogynist, a listen and see what stupid arguments he has to offer. Okay, here's an argument. Go and see how many times feminism supports the choice of a woman to be a housewife and mother. That's a reasonable choice, isn't it? I mean, if we are each free to pursue our lifestyle as we see fit, shouldn't being a mother, shouldn't being a housewife be something that a woman is, well, if she decides to do that, she should be encouraged to do that? How come feminism doesn't do that? How come feminism, far from approving of such a choice, shits all over it? Huh? Ask yourself. It's the same reason that so many corporations are trying to get women into STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, math, right? Why do they want that? So that it lowers the price of labor. That's the whole point. That's the whole feminist project. Feminism it goes hand in hand with corporatism. It's all about lowering the cost of labor. Notice that when people, human beings, have a choice of what they want to do, and nobody interferes with them, most women will gravitate towards the caring professions, teacher, nurse. In nursing schools, 90% of the nurses, or the prospective nurses, are women. Only 10% are men. And what, you think that nursing school is keeping women out? Keeping men out? That there's like some big conspiracy in the nursing schools to not allow any man in? No. It's because women, like that profession more than men. And therefore, you have the situation where a lot of physical labor, not engineer, like a construction worker, oil rig worker, these kinds of professions, right? They pay very, very well. Why do they pay so well? Because only men can do them. Only men want to do them, okay? Unlike being a lawyer. Compare over time, over the last, say, 50 years, the average wage of a lawyer and the average wage of an oil rig worker. Which has grown and which has declined? Easy. The lawyer's wage has declined. Why? Because there's more competition. There are more women. Yeah. You decide to be a career woman, you're just playing into the corporate scheme of maintaining low wages. And here's the kicker. See, you're going to play into this paradigm, right? And you are going to be unhappy. I told you before, and you can check this up by going on Google and whatnot, that so many women in their mid-30s, right, once they have a child, they put their careers on the back burner, even though if their career was extremely successful, they just don't care very much anymore about it, right? Why do you think that is? See, most women, I'm talking the vast majority of women, I'm talking 90% of women, 9 out of 10, most women get satisfaction from caring for others, caring for their own children. I mentioned before how 90% of nurses are women. Well, why do you think that is? Why do you think women go into nursing? They go into teaching? Because they like and derive enormous satisfaction from helping others. And that satisfaction, that happiness that they gain from being a nurse, from being a teacher, it's like a child substitute. That's why women go into those professions. And once they have a child of their own, they don't want to go back to work. They don't. They'd be happy with the child. And you're a young woman and you're being pushed probably very hard to become a career girl. Get like a big time career, be a lawyer, be a doctor, be a accountant or consulting or whatever. And you're a bright girl, right? And they're telling you that you should do this, that you should do this. And if you don't, then you're letting feminism down or some nonsense like that. You're letting down your potential. Oh yeah, you're letting down your potential. You're not gonna, maximize your potential. Yeah, but the thing is, will you be happy? Will you be truly happy? I mean, ask yourself hand to heart. I mean, it sounds cool to be a lawyer, to be a doctor, to be this, that, the other. Corporate CEO, it sounds cool. But do you know what it entails? It entails a shit ton of work and very little feedback. Very little sense of any kind of reward, emotional reward. You're not going to get any. Careers are cold things. And they don't make people happy. Guys, you look at a guy pursuing some career, you think that he really wants to? I mean, I'm a guy, right? I can tell you from personal experience and the experience of a bunch of other people that I know, guys that I know, no guy likes his career. Sometimes he gets some satisfaction out of it, but most of the time he's pursuing his career so he can make the money, so he can support the wife and the kids in private school. Yeah? And he gets up there as a lawyer, as a doctor, as a whatever. And a lot of times it's just a sacrifice. A lot of times we men feel that we are throwing our lives away pursuing this career. And we have to constantly remind ourselves that the reason that we are pursuing this career is so we can get the money so that we can provide for our families. If we had our choice, we wouldn't have the career. No. And it's not that we'd be like watching video games and scratching our balls all day. No. We'd be doing things that we actually enjoy. But the things that we actually enjoy, we've come to the hard-headed decision that, well, we enjoy it, but it doesn't make any money for us. I love doing woodworking crap, right? It doesn't make me any money. Yeah? Even if I were good at it, it wouldn't make me enough money to fulfill all the financial obligations that I have, right? We pursue careers not because we like them, but because we have to. Huh? And you young woman, right? You're being told that a career will give you satisfaction. It won't. That's a lie. And I'm here to tell you and ask any guy, it is a lie. At the start of this video, I talked about women who are in their mid-30s and then all of a sudden they panic about having a kid, right? And some of them go through heroic medical procedures in order to conceive a child of their own. They do all kinds of crazy ass stuff to get a kid because they need it. They need it. They desperately want it, okay? And most of them, the vast majority of them, when they fail to conceive a child of their own, do you have any idea of the heartbreak that they experience? The misery? Because you see, human beings, well, all species, we're hardwired to reproduce. And we are hardwired to find happiness and fulfillment when we have children of our own. I can tell you, I have a few children of my own, and they give me enormous happiness, enormous satisfaction. Even when they're being annoying, even when they're being, ornery, they give me enormous happiness, and they are the drive for most of the things I do at this point in my life. They will give you happiness, but if you decide to postpone and have a career, you will have nothing but misery if you are unlucky enough not to have a kid. And it's very easy. Your odds of conceiving drop precipitously after the age of 35. Precipitously. Not for every woman. Of course, there are outliers. Yeah. Like in any distribution, you're always going to have outliers. But the vast majority of women past the age of 35, they cannot easily or casually conceive. It's a heartbreaking process for so many of them. And so many of them fail. And so many of them think to themselves, why didn't I have a child in my 20s? Why did I sacrifice having a family of my own for a career that gave me nothing? You're a smart girl. You're watching this video, and you've gotten so far in this video, yeah? And I hope that you realize that I'm not some misogynistic pig that wants the worst for you. No, I'm telling you like an adult. Like this is to help you. Be smart. People are pushing you in a certain direction. To have a career and to sacrifice having any kind of a family life or children of your own for the sake of your career. And they keep saying this empty promise that, oh, later you can have kids. That's a lie. Recognize that a woman's peak fertility, the peak of her fertility, is age 21, roughly. A woman starts ovulating, what, at the age of 13, 14? Yeah? And she ends her ovulation like at 44, right? But the peak, the easiest time to conceive is when she's 21, 22. And after that, it's a slow fade till she hits 32, 35, and after that, it's a drastic fade. Be smart. Have kids early, and not just one kid, have several. You will be happier long term. Your career will not give you any satisfaction. It has never given anyone any kind of satisfaction except people who are a little bit sociopathic, quite frankly. Yeah, the guys who really get off on their career, or the women who really get off on their career, they are monomaniacal and a little bit insane. You talk to them a little bit and you'll be nodding in agreement with me on this issue. Yeah, those people who focus their entire lives on their career, they're nuts. They're not normal. They're not healthy. Be smart. I don't think I can tell you anything else that will make you change your mind. Okay? But if I've given you a little bit, enough to make you doubt this idiotic career path that you're on, always remember that, see, if something is true, you can examine it a million times and it'll remain true. But if something that you think is true turns out to be false, then you have to find out as soon as possible. Hope this helps.